just finished off playing at Liverpool Golf Club. I was in the final tee-off group. Played with a couple of good golfers. One was off 10, and the other one was off 15. With the slope today, although my GA is 14.9 before today, I was off 18. Playing off the white tees. The tees were quite a bit further forward on quite a number of the holes. Beautiful day, a little bit of wind around, but yeah, no, great conditions, and it was preferred lies 30 centimeters between through the green, so that always helps. Yeah, so I'm just going to run through the clubs. So I started on the first and took a 4-iron. Didn't actually have any time to warm up with the swings. I had a little bit of time on the putting green, only about 10 minutes before I had to tee off. So I just did a few chips around the green and some putts, which sort of tends to be what I do if I don't have time. Just focus on a few putts and a few sort of 30-foot putts, just to get the feel for the speed of the greens. Then I took a 4-iron, hit it pretty well, but ended up just drawing it into the bunker, into the fairway bunker. Didn't catch the bunker shot cleanly, but got out and left myself with about 80 meters to the green. I left that one a little bit short on the approach. Didn't have any sort of feel, I guess, at that stage. And then I did a little. What did I do though? A chip and run. Yeah, I did a little chip and run. Which just caught the. That's right, just caught the fringe of the green. So sort of checked up. Needed to go about an extra foot. Missed the landing spot on the green there. Rolled forward. Had about a 25 foot putt, which I just left for a tap in 6. So a double bogey start. Not the best, but given that I hadn't, didn't have time for a warm up, just take it and move on. The next hole was the par 4 seconds, the hardest hole. I think it ranked the hardest hole on the course. I hit my driver, the driver I picked up yesterday at Drummond Golf, the Nike, one of the old Nike models. First time swinging it in the open air. Caught it all right. Just travelled up the sort of left side of the fairway. I'll have a look on the game golf stats later how far it went, but it was a pretty decent strike. I think it left me with only sort of a 9-iron to the green, which is pretty rare. I've only just started playing the driver. Before I've been using 4-iron, and that's often left me with another 4-iron to the green. So I had I think it was a 9-iron, and I struck it pretty well, but just ended up going just off the back of the green on the right. Again, the feel wasn't really there for the chip shot, didn't have an awful lot of green to work with, and just left it shy, about a couple of feet off the fringe, off the green on the fringe. But then stepped up, picked a good line with the putt, and just caught the left side of the lip, and in it went for a 4. It was probably about a 16-foot, something like that, putt. So yeah, I was happy with that. So walked off with a 4. So I was playing off 18, so I get a shot each hole. So although I got a 1-pointer on the first, that was a nice 3-pointer bounce back. And then went on to the third hole, which is a par 5. Par 5, I've never got on the green into, but it is definitely reachable. Probably with I hit a really good drive with the new driver. I was really happy with that. And then I had about 220, I think, left to the green. Yeah, I had about 220 left to the green. So I wind behind, so took out a 4-iron, just because I feel comfortable with that club. It was probably more like a 3 to get there. And yeah, hit a good shot, good line. Just drew it around, and it ended up probably about 8 feet off the front of the green, with a nice line in. Took out the putter and hit a pretty decent putt up and over the fringe, and then breaking right to left down to the pin. Pushed it a little bit. Rolled on a little bit past the hole for probably till about 4 or 5 feet, and then picked a good line and put it in for birdie. I was really happy with that. And then I went on to the par 3 4th. This one's just all about distance. There's the river, St George's River, runs along the back of the green. The tee was a little bit further back than normal. Most of the times I played there. It was about I think it was 150, about 153, 154, I think. The wind was sort of coming across from the left, so it wasn't really, I don't think it was really helping or really against. It was just so I just took out a 7-iron. And normally 150 7-iron is pretty much spot on. So I took that out and hit it pretty well, with a bit of a draw, but just it was too much. It was too much club. Bounced just on the green at the back, but then rolled on and down into the hazard. The hazard's it's got a bit of a bank verge, and then you've got about 20 feet before the river. Fortunately, my ball rested before it went into the river. I was in the hazard, very difficult, overhanging branches in front of me, but managed to punch a shot out with my 60-degree wedge, and just managed to stop it on the far side of where it just ran off onto the fringe. On the far side of the green. It was quite a long, maybe about a 60-foot putt. Long uphill, breaking, quite a big break to the left. Hit it pretty well on pretty good line. Just didn't have quite enough on it for the the last bit of brake to really kick in. So I was left with about probably about 10 feet to the hole. It was all falling away on the left, so rolled it up, just caught the edge of the hole, but yeah, put it in for a 5, and yeah, walked off. So next hole is dogleg left, and took out the 3-wood. Tee was quite forward again, so I just swung easy. You know, full on swing with the 3-wood might have sent me through the fairway and into the St George's River that runs around the dogleg. Didn't catch it amazingly well, but it yeah, I mean, it travelled off the club okay. Stayed pretty low out of the wind, and just ran to into the over the fairway and just into the light rough, and left me with about 115 meters into the green, which is just a bang on pitching wedge for me. So I swung nice and easy. Probably didn't account for a bit of a headwind, and but hit it really sweetly. When I got up to the green, I could see that the ball had actually spun back about 12 foot, so probably landed about the right distance. But yeah, just span back about 12 foot, and left me with about say 30 feet into the green, sorry, into the hole, with about a 5-foot break right to left. Pretty good strike, left it about 2.5 foot, 3 foot short, lag, and knocked it in for a 4. Next up was the par 3, about 167 meters. Struck a 6-iron pretty well. Didn't get I guess the height with the ball as much height as I was hoping for. So it you know, it landed on the green, sort of centre of the green, but then ran on to sort of the back fringe and left me with about a 40 foot downhill putt, breaking left to right. Anyway, struck a good putt, and rolled it to within about 6 foot, I think, and then managed to knock in the par putt. So I went off with a nice 3 for 3 there, and onto the 7th hole. So the 7th hole has a water hazard that comes into the fairway. I tend to always take a 4-iron. Maybe once I'm a little bit more comfortable with the driver, might give it a go with the right sort of wind behind, to see if you can get up and around the green. It's probably doable on a good day. But it struck a 4-iron, which left me with a pitching wedge, I think again about 115 into the green. Just pushed it a little. I was bang on the length. Just pushed it a little bit to the right hand side of the green, pin high. About pin high, about 20-25 feet from the hole. Quite a big left to right break, especially near the hole, and it just caught the putt a little bit on the toe side, so just accentuated the break, ended up with a tricky, about a tricky sort of 10-foot putt to save par, and managed to put it in. So yeah, I was very happy to walk off there with a 4. All right, so moving on to the 8th. The 8th is a par 5, dogleg left with water coming into play around 220 metres off the tee. So took a three wood here. Struck it nice and straight, and it left me with about 220 metres to the centre of the green. It left me with about 191. Yeah, 191 to the centre of the green. So I took out my 4-iron, just tried to go for it a bit too much. Ended up turning the club head over, and just sort of hooking the ball a little bit, or pulling it. Off to the left, ended up down in front of the 11th tee box. It's a bit tentative. It's pretty grippy grass down there. Quite even with the preferred lie. Just basically caught my club head a bit, and just left it about 10 foot short of the green. Only put it forward about 20 foot from where I was. So I took out my 9-iron, which is my old Titleist DCI 9-iron that I like to use around the greens, because it's got I find the AP2s have quite an active face. They seem to sort of ping off the club face. I find it difficult to get the ball close to judge the distance. I prefer more of a kind of a dead feel in the club face, and just use my hands and arms to judge the distance. So at the moment I've got this DCI, my old DCI club in 9-iron. So use that. Got the distance pretty much bang on. Didn't allow enough for the break, so ended up about 6 to 7 feet from the hole, below the hole. Slight right to left break, just really aimed it at the right lip, and dropped in. So I was happy to sort of move away from there with par, and then headed on to the 9th. So the 9th is quite a tricky hole, because it's got water sort of guarding the left-hand side and the back, as well as some bunkers there as well. Took out the driver, just teed the ball too high, and just ballooned off the top edge to the right. Was fortunate to clear the water that runs sort of really should only come into play going down the 10th. So I managed to just clear that, and was left with about 210 into the green. So it struck a nice draw on a 6-iron, and cleared it over the trees, and it left me with about 60 metres to the green. Again, sort of the feel for the chipping just wasn't really there all day today, because I've been away. I haven't played for about 4 weeks. Been away on holiday, so it didn't really have the feel. Just again, a bit strong. Just ran it off the back of the green, all that pitched on, ran off and into the bunker at the back. I was happy to get out of all the bunkers that I did go into. Managed to, I think it was about 3 or 4. Managed to get out first time each time today, which is pretty. I've just been struggling a bit in the bunkers, so I was happy with that. So I managed to get out to about 15 feet from the hole, and then two putted from there for a 6. Walked off with a pretty good run of pars, a run of 3 pars. Managed to get that birdie, so I ended up with 22 points on the front 9. So really happy with that. And I grabbed a quick drink from the clubhouse, and then we headed off down the 10th. Tees were forward. Wind was a little bit helping us. I think it was helping us a little bit. I'm trying to remember now. Yeah, it was. No, it was actually maybe a little bit swirling around a lot today, so I can't really remember. But tees were forward. Teed up in the usual place on the right. Always sort of take a 4-iron here. I haven't taken on the water before. But yeah, tee it up on the right, just aim to try and get it on the left-hand side of the fairway. Struck it pretty well on line, and actually just ran out of fairway and then ran up onto a bank. So I had a pretty tricky lie. Ball was probably about a foot or two, about a foot beneath me, up on a sort of a raised bank. I was standing up on a raised bank, and then again probably swung at the ball a little bit firmly, and I think keeping the hands beneath my feet, I ended up sort of pulling it a little bit, and ended up just stopping. Flew over the bunkers on the left of the green, and then pulled up just short of the out of bounds fence, which was fortunate. From there, I had a slightly limited backswing, a pretty tricky sort of shot into the green, thinned my pitch, ran off over the green. Pitched on the green, but ran off into the bunker behind, and then struck a nice bunker shot in terms of weight, but didn't allow enough for the break in the green. So ended up about 12 foot from the hole, beneath the hole, uphill putt. Left it just shy on the right, and put it in for a 6, and then moved on to the 11th. The 11th is a tricky hole. Water down the left, trees down the right, and pretty long as well. So I think it might be ranked second hardest. I'm not sure. To check. Excuse me. But took out the driver. Caught it well. There was wind behind. I'll have to check the distance, but actually ran out of fairway rather, with a bit of a draw, which I've never on that line done. So it was probably close to. I'll have to check. Maybe around 280, 290 meters drive. Possibly more. I was only left with my pitching wedge. I think it was about 110 to the pin. Wind behind. No, maybe 120 to the pin. I have to check on Game Golf. About 120 to the pin, I think, and then I just caught it a bit. The the trees were coming into play, so I had to actually close the face on it a little bit, try and draw it around. Got a bit of a draw going, the wind was helping, but just caught the, didn't get it back around enough, and ended up in the bunker with quite a difficult downhill lie, some fairly firm sand. Again, was happy with my shot out of the bunker there. Left me with about 15 feet to the hole. I stepped up and I may have. So I was on in 3. Then I think I two putted for a 5. I think. I think so. Did I roll it in? I'll have to check. Anyway, the next hole, stood up, took the driver again. Took the driver again. Didn't really, got a bit of a sort of a duck hook kind of going a little bit, but managed to get over the bunker. Well, it can't have been a duck hook, I guess, but it wasn't a great strike, and it was. But managed to get over the bunker and left me with a pitching wedge, I think, to the green, or a 9-iron. I think it might have been a 9-iron. Just blocked it out to the right into the hazard by the trees. Dropped, took a penalty drop. Tried to keep a 5-iron low through the trees again. I find the AP2's head's very active, so I didn't really judge it well. Rolled off the back of the green. I chipped to within a chip and ran it. I putted. Didn't allow enough for the break. Rolled about 8 foot, 9 foot from the pin, past the pin down the slope. Missed the putt, and that was a 7 wide. It was my only wide of the day. Yeah, but disappointing from where I was with my drive. Anyway, moved on to the next hole. Again, took the driver out. Didn't hit it well, but ended up just on the third fairway. So pulled the tee shot into the third. Just took out an 8-iron and hit a really nice shot up and over the trees, back onto the fairway. And from there I had about 105 metres in, so took out my 50 degree wedge and caught it a little bit thin. Ended up at the back of the green, and then had probably about a 40-foot putt for birdie. Rolled it up to within about 3 feet and finished off for par. So I was happy with that, especially from where I was with the drive. And then the next hole, par 3, 140 metres. Took out, the tees were quite forward. Normally it's an 8-iron for me into the green. The pin was a little bit at the back. Took a 9-iron out. Hit it really pure with a bit of a draw, and ended up 2 foot from the hole. One of the closest shots I've had, I think, to a hole in one. Managed to knock that in for birdie, which is a nice. So I had a nice couple of sort of par birdie there, and then went on to the next hole. hit my 3-wood. Didn't really catch it, but managed to get up and over the bunker. Again, the tees were forward. Managed to get up and over the bunker and down the other side. Had a really good line into the green, and then just sort of, it felt like a lazy. I wasn't quite well. Something didn't feel right on the setup. Should have just stepped out of the shot, but went ahead with it. A bit of a tired stroke, I think, into the trees. Sorry, just sort of up a bit into the right. Probably only moved it on about another, about 100 meters with a 7-iron. Not less, about 80 meters. So I think I was left with about 85 meters into the green, which is sort of between clubs. I took out my 54 wedge and struck that about 95. It just held up at the back of the green and left me with a fairly large breaking putt of about 25 foot. Didn't really judge the pace well on the putt. Ended up rolling it by about 8 to 10 foot and missed the return putt. So walked off there with a 6, which was again disappointing from where I was with my drive. Went on to the next hole and then just really wild swing with my driver. Ended up going way off to the right, cleared all the trees, and ended up actually in a pretty good position on the 11th fairway. So I basically, I think I took out a 4-iron, hit it really nicely up and over the trees, back onto the fairway, and left me with about 65 meters into the green. Judged the distance really well. Again, just pushed it a bit to the right, and was left with about probably about 15 feet to the hole. Anyway, struck it really nicely, and rolled it in for a par. So from where I was, that was a great result. The next hole, so getting up to the last couple of holes, 17th, 17th tees were forward, so I had a 3-wood in my hand initially, and then thought I might just get to the water with the 3-wood. So I took out the 4-iron instead, and it wasn't my best 4-iron, but just sort of ran it down the right. Didn't get much of a draw, so ended up in the light rough, running along the right hand side of the fairway. Took out a 6-iron, which I thought would leave me with around 100 meters in for my third shot, but I ended up sort of pulling that 6-iron into the trees on the left hand side of the fairway. I kept the 6-iron in my hand and just sort of punched a ball out and down the fairway through the trees, which left me with around 65 meters into the green. And so just took out my 60-degree wedge and managed to punch one in there. Again pushed it a little bit, but pin high, probably about. Actually, no. Sorry. I think I hit it pretty straight, but just aimed it left at the hole, and was left with about 15 feet, yeah, about 15 foot to the hole, break left to right, slightly downhill. So I just went pretty softly with it and just ran it across the front side of the hole. It was almost in, and then left me with about 2 foot for tap in for my 6. So walked off there with a 2-pointer, which was probably fair enough from where I was with my second. Then stepped up onto the final, the 18th par 3. The tees were forward again. It was around about 140 to the centre. So I took out my an 8-iron. No, sorry, yeah. A 9-iron. Sorry, took out my 9-iron. Didn't set it off on the best line. Wasn't terrible, but just didn't really throw my hands through the ball enough. Ended up kind of pulling it slightly. Managed to clear the left-hand greenside bunker. So it was the right club length. Left me almost pin high up on a steep bank. With a only about 10 foot of green to work with, so I just ended up deciding to putt it. It was pretty rough grass, so quite hard to judge the speed. I ended up getting it just to the just onto the. It was all a little bit more pace, and it would have been pretty good, but ended up just pulling up short on the fringe, and left me with that sort of 12-foot putt on the fringe. Hit the putt well, just caught the lip, the top of the lip, rolled on a little bit, rolled on about 2.5-3 foot past the hole. Managed to tap that in for a 4, and so that was 18 points coming back, so sort of level on the back 9, 40 points overall. So yeah, it's really happy with that. Anyway, guys, that was my blow by blow for this for today's round. 40 points. I think that's the best. I've done 40 points once before around Liverpool, but yeah, really happy with that after 3 or 4 weeks away from the game. Swings seemed really good. Pitching need to get back out there and practice the pitching. Really have to feel the length, especially for the shorter stuff around the green. But yeah, overall, yeah, really happy with that. So I'll speak to you soon. Thanks, guys.